Hello, everyone. Hello, Anna.
Hello.
Yeah, it's another day, isn't it? We done our last live last month, and the time goes flying, and we are here again today.
It does. It feels like it's only a few days since our last one.
Yes, yes. So, um, to everyone, thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, and I have my co-host Anna Brevington. And you know that we do this live program from NB Business Club to support individuals. If you have any problems, we are here to support, and we have a network that we can tailor the methodology for you to uh, find some real problem and solve that with the network. So today we're going to be discussing business growth with a neurodivergent perspectives, strategies, and success stories. And you know that me and Anna both are neurodivergent, and we proud to be neurodivergent. Anna.
Yeah, definitely. I was talking about the fact that I have ADHD. I'm quite late to neurodivergent. Well, I'm not. I've always had it, but I didn't know much about it. My son was diagnosed with autism when about 2 years ago, and it was just an offhand comment that someone said, "Oh, have you ever thought you might have ADHD?" And then all the puzzle pieces started fitting together. And now I'm waiting for diagnosis. I'm on the waiting list. So hopefully I think I'm about 9 months away now. So I'm getting there, eyes on the prize.
Yes, because I didn't know that I'm neurodivergent. I found out my dyslexia after my brain tumor surgery. And I thought that as effect of my brain tumor surgery, but it wasn't. So when my son was diagnosed when he was 2.5, he's just going to school, nursery. And then I realized, okay, something is not right. And I found, yes, he shadows most of my characteristics and my wife's characteristics. So there we go. That's fine, because I'm proud to be a neurodivergent. The way I can work and the way I can support people, I think a normal neurotypical people will struggle. So I'm proud who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same. It makes me who I am. Without my neurodivergence, I wouldn't be me. And the same with my son. He's 8 now, and he's trying to sort of understand, what autism is, what it is to be an autistic person, but also to love that side around him. We really want him to make sure that he doesn't feel that it's in any way negative, that it's really positive experience, because everyone is different. And that he is, what do they say? I saw someone's LinkedIn the other day. I'm one in 3.6 billion, or however many people are on the planet. We are an individual. We are the only one of us. So it's nice to just embrace yourself.
Please, I totally agree with you. Today, excuse me. Today I was talking to one of the new network I just joined, a Circle network, and I was talking to one of the person, Nikki Carr, and we're talking about me and her, and then and she told me that yes, her daughter is neurodivergent, and I told her that okay, I did not know. Thank you very much, because we are proud to be neurodivergent. And you know that there is a common norm in our society that when you work, you need to concentrate specifically with one thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told her, like, sorry, Nikki, my computer is a little bit slow today because I have 4 things talking to you, and I'm checking another 3 things. And she just jumped. Oh my God, my daughter does similar like you. How could you do that? And I asked her, how do you operate? And she told me, that's the way we operate. Because if we do not have our puzzle pieces, if we do not have our comfort zone laid out in a way, we cannot concentrate. So that's normal for us. So can you imagine that if some neurotypical people, they see this and they will say, okay, he's not doing work. He's just not doing work.
Do you know, it's funny because my son the other day, when he was in school, he fiddles with stuff, and the teacher didn't think that he was listening. But that's how, like you said, that multitasking is how he does it. I was a doodler. I used to doodle all over my pads at school or things. And I concentrated so much better. And actually, I stopped doodling in pads. And I've noticed my concentration in meetings is struggling now. So I get quite fidgety, cross my leg, cross it the other way, because I want to do multiple things at a time. And I need that brain stimulation. And, so I've been starting to listen to, I think we talked about it previously about ADHD sort of music. So Brain FM. And I know there was a chap previously on one of our lives that also is creating some sort of music and that for our brains, and it's supposed to sort of keep your brain active so that it feels like it's doing 20 things at one time. So if I do need to concentrate, I can focus. I think it's a bit like a musical version of maybe like an ADHD medication in some ways, but maybe not quite as intense. So it's I'm still testing it. It seems to be working.
If I go to a meeting and if I don't have 2-3 things, different things, I have to shake my leg.
Yeah.
It's just continuous shaking because I can't find rhythm. I can't find my brain working. So something has to be on the move, on the go. It's same like you, and people they will think that okay, we are not serious. But it's not seriousness. It's just like the way our genetics works. The way I would say normally that people call labeled us as disabled, but we are not disabled. Our genetic mutation is like that. If we are disabled, we wouldn't have like 15% of the total world population are neurodivergent. So it wouldn't be like that. So we are a different mutation, a different thing within the human space. So some of us are very strong, some of us are very intelligent, and we also have some of us in Down syndrome and a lot of other things. So it's different. So today we wanted to discuss more about inclusivity and how you can develop your business to the next levels. And to all the viewers, if you're watching this live, please feel free to comment on the comment box and ask us any question you have. Otherwise, we'll continue our conversation because if me and Anna, we talk.
Can't shut us up, can they?
So don't worry about that. We want good wishes from you. Like if we can support the neurodivergent community, at the end of our life, we can say that, okay, at least few people, they have listened to us and they are in good way of their lives. So first thing that I just wanted to spur the talking on, embracing neurodiversity in business place. We have covered this in our previous lives, but I just wanted to again raise these questions that what are the benefits of embracing neurodivergence in the workplace? Because you work on a corporations, I do work with SMEs, and as well as I work with corporates, CEOs, C-level executives. So in that space, why you think that neurodivergent like us or you and others can significantly contribute to the workplace with their knowledge and so on?
Yeah, do you know, it's one of the things that I think it goes back to, do you remember our first session in Fair Room where we were, everyone was expressing sort of like how they felt at work and how they thought differently. And one of the things that really stuck out amongst a lot of us was that we're very good at big picture and thinking and connecting the dots. And I think sometimes it's our superpower because we're thinking of all these things. I describe like my neurodivergence as Doctor Who. I'm like Doctor Who when he says I can see all of space and time in my head. And that's how I feel. I can see it all. I think Winona Ryder, I don't know if she's neurodivergent, but she said a comment which was, it was something along the lines of, I've thought of it. I've thought of the next thing. I've thought of this. I've thought of that. I've gone backwards and thought of that. She was sort of talking about the fact that she thinks of everything all the time, and if before someone else has thought of it, she's probably thought of it 50 times because. You know, and I found it funny because when like I've been in work and someone come up with the idea and I'm going, oh, I was thinking about that too. And they're like, how can you have thought about all of these things? Like, you know, when people have said, oh, you know, oh, I thought, you know, I was thinking about this. And I was like, oh yeah, that was one of, yeah, I was thinking about that too. No, that's really good. You know, what do you think about it? And because I've got these 50 ideas coming around in my head, but I don't know about you, but I don't always vocalize them. So when someone else vocalizes it, I'm like, oh, so someone else was thinking that, you know, and it's really nice to sort of see it. But then I've thought of 40 other things as well. And do you know, it's funny because these, you know, when you're thinking of lots of things, you can kind of see the patterns forming and going between things. And you know, you'll sit in a meeting sometimes and everyone's going, oh, what about this and what about that, and you've thought 50 steps ahead to all the maybe issues or benefits, and you can list them out in your head, you know, out in your head, and it takes other people a few hours to get there, and you're like, I'll wait for you, it's fine, I'll wait for you. Although I know, you know, a few of my friends at Neurodivergent as well, I don't know about you, Dr. Shah, but you get frustrated waiting for other people to catch up. Come on, I'm there down there. And you're like, hey. and you've got to wait for them to sort of get to the dots themselves. So it can be quite frustrating as well.
You know, we're both technologists, and we know how technology works. We know how neural network works. I did not have that much understanding of neural networks because last 15 or 20 years it's been massively done. But when I was young and doing my science, usual science, you know the chemistry, that H2O2, and you do a chemical reaction with CO2, and it's all about connecting different dots, isn't it? So later, now we think about human brains, about on AI, that is everything connecting one dot to another, and it can produce a different results. Good thing is that in the morning when I was talking to Nikki Carr, and she was also telling me these things, like, oh, Shah, you can think about a versatile environment. So when I talk to people, I talk to them like, okay, you know that you know, you have goggles and you have virtual reality. Okay, in virtual reality, you put yourself in middle of a global thing. Okay, and then you can switch things differently, like, okay, moving things around, and you can pick things whatever you like and zoom in there. So I think when I see things, my brain works like that, the way you describe it. Like, okay, I can see the, you know, the maybe in front of me there is a very clear picture, but I can see maybe 10 times behind another shadow, something is out there, and I want that to be seen before I take a decision of the visibility. Okay, and when I find that out, that okay, what is that, it is not still clear, and when it is clear, then I can connect these two dots or maybe some other dots to make it different. You know, that's why some of the neurodivergent, I'm not sure it is with all neurodivergent or not, but I work with many neurodivergent, and some of them are these characteristics. So I would say embracing neurodivergent talent in your work group, you need to let it go in their hands. Think they will find a solution that the other teammates can't.
And the thing is with this, and I sort of mentioned to you before that I really like a book called Rebel Ideas by Matthew Syed, and he says in there that the most innovative companies and those that are most profitable take on a really diverse set of people. This is why I worry about sort of America at the moment, where they're sort of, they seem to be getting rid of diversity, but actually it's really, really important for business, because it makes you actually earn more as a company. And by diversity, there's lots of areas. It's not just demographic diversity, it's diversity of thought. So neurodivergence, neurotypical thinking, having a mix. He even gives the example, you might have two economists. They're sort of both similar demographically, but one studied one type of economics and one studied another, and they approach things differently. And he talks a lot about innovation moving businesses forward. And he talks about when Silicon Valley and some of the big technology places, when they start small, what happens is it doesn't all happen in the business. What people were doing is going into coffee shops and mingling. So, with different people that thought different ways. And what was happening is, because he talks about two types of innovation, linear innovation, which is sort of things that just sort of progress quite linearly, and then recumbent innovation, which is recombining ideas, a bit like combining suitcases with wheels, that type of thing. So he talked about this recombining of ideas, and he said if you have people from different backgrounds and different ways of thinking, that they bring these ideas together to make something absolutely wonderful. And so you sort of have to try and get away from homogenous thinking. It's interesting. I was thinking about it today because I saw something. I can't remember, it was a job ad or something, and it was around culture, and they were asking for people that wanted to fit in with their culture. And one thing I've noticed recently is that seems to be a sort of word for you need to fit in with similar thinking. Everyone likes the same ideas. Everyone says yes to the same ideas. It's that sort of almost clones. You have the clones. And, with culture, it's really, I don't know, but people find it comfortable if everyone does do that. It's easier. There's no conflict. People just say yes and we get on with it. The problem is I've seen so many failures from that because people have just agreed on the same bad ideas. But whereas if you have people in that think differently, there will be, it will be difficult. And this is the thing, people don't always like anything that's slightly above difficult. It's more difficult to manage different personalities, to make them merge. But you don't have to be best friends. You have to get this diverse thinking, all these different people that can bring these fresh ideas, combine their ideas together to be able to move forward. And it can be painful. I've managed teams that are they're all a little bit different. Oh, for God's sake, why can't you just get on? But I'm like, no, I don't want you to be perfectly get on. As long as you've got the same goal to get towards, that's where you need to agree. And everything underneath, I want a bit of conflict. I want people to challenge me and that. And I don't know about any other neurodivergents that are listening, but I do like to challenge people because I think a bit differently.
I totally agree with you because when you are in a mental space and you wanted to have some headrooms, okay, and those headrooms are the neurotypical people and quarrel with the neurodivergent people, because when they don't understand something, the neurodivergent people, they will create things that other people can understand. But when initially, if you ask someone, maybe you ask me like, okay, Shah, what's the solution now? I cannot give you a right answer because on my brain, when you ask me, I could have 10 different type of solutions, isn't it? So how can I give you an answer when I'm not sure that which solution is the best one? So what I will do, I will just keep quiet for some times. I will think about it and I will do my maths very well. Okay. So, okay, this is best, or this is best. And prioritizing that, okay, I have the first in row. This is the first one, second one, third one. So that's the way that our brain works. Yesterday, I was talking to someone and I was talking to him that our brains is just like a Pandora box. So millions of things out there, millions of neurons is just juggle all the time. But when you ask us a specific questions, we are not ready because we have seen the patterns. We know there is a solution out there, but we need a little bit time to make it and then present it. And the presentation, we're going to be giving it to you. That's going to be mind-blowing. But people, they don't have that time.
No, and that's the problem as well, with this, not just with neurodivergence, but just with different personality types as well. All meetings are just done the same. There's no agenda. People just turn up. The loudest people talk, and then it's always the same people as well. The same people talk, and then a decision is made in the meeting, And then, so anyone that isn't very good at sort of talking in a meeting, their voices are never heard. You know, no one's given an agenda. So those that need to prep can't prep. And for those, like you said, like yourself, that you need to think afterwards, you need some thinking time. But actually, they've already made the decision, so you don't get your thinking time, and you don't get to share your ideas, which, you know, is. And I think, you know, for, you know, we're talking about business growth. For growing businesses, we need to adapt. We can't do things in the same old way. And I did a talk at Brighton SEO about a year and a half ago now, and it was around getting diverse ideas into your marketing strategy. So this is just about marketing strategy, but it could be anything in your business. And in there, I sort of talked about how you gather information from people. So it could be that, you know, some people don't like talking. So, you know, do a Teams message chat. You know, when I worked at Game, I had word on the street, which was, if you heard of anything interesting, you know, people that wouldn't normally speak up, type it into the chat. And as a marketing team, we'd go, oh, that's interesting. Or, you know, I'd happy if someone put a post-it note on my desk. We had Ideas Lab as well, which was you filled in a form, and it was anyone across the company that could fill in this form. And it was, you know, it was stores, it was head office, and it could be anything about a company, not just marketing. It could be something in operations or stores. And they would submit it to us, and it gave we were trying to get this diversity of thought, get all these ideas from different people. Some of them weren't great ideas just because they didn't know how some of the business worked. Some were brilliant, and we implemented some of them, you know, so there were some really good, and they got a reward if we implemented them. So, you know, even if you haven't got the people in your team that are diverse, you can always, because, you know, sometimes if you've got a team, it's set and you can't change it very quickly. Like if you've got other people, like across business, if you're a bigger business, or what I do is like my community is like, so this lunchtime, I was at the You Are the Media lunch club, which is one down here in Bournemouth. And the amount of people that I've spoken to, if I'm struggling with problem, I'm too close to this problem, I need an external voice. I just contact one, and I get a different opinion and a different thought, and it's, I'd never have thought of that. You know, even with my all big thinking, you know, sometimes you can be too close to the problem. So you get a little bit of diverse thought in there, and brilliant. You know, it's fantastic. So, you know, making sure we're setting up this environment for growth, I think, and you know, it goes to customers as well, because not all customers perform well in the same type of meeting. So finding out what works well for them, because you might actually get more out of them, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Anna. So we have another segment that we wanted to talk about. So everyone, if you wanted to ask us any question, feel free to ask us through the comment box. And you know that our usual events was 12 o'clock, but for some reasons we could not do it at that time. So we started at 4:30 today. So we do not have that many audience, but it will be recorded, or people can watch it on a replay. So if you're watching this webinar later, feel free to share this with your network, because I think we will have some knowledgeable content today to talk about, and it will support them. Either they're in workplace or they are doing their business as an entrepreneur. So we just wanted to concentrate on the misconceptions of neurodivergence. You know, I have seen, I share this to many times, I have shared already, that as a neurodivergent person, when I disclosed my neurodiversity, I did not get selected. Many jobs I applied. And on the next day, everyone is saying that we found a better candidate than you. And that sparked me. Like, okay, I think result-wise and talent-wise, I'm not worst. I'm better than many other people. But I wasn't selected, and same message. I regret to inform you that we could not take you. So we found someone else better than you. These things, how we can change the hiring process, because if I know if someone wants to work with me, if they work with me, they will understand my talent. But if they ask me something for half an hour, I will do the worst, conversation or worst results. They will not understand me very well. So there is a misconception in the community that neurodivergent people, they are good for nothing. Recently, people talking about neurodiversity, neurodivergence, adding lots of things in the workplace, but still the misconception is out there.
There is, I must admit, because I'm quite high functioning for ADHD, and I'm very good at masking. Although I've heard that women that are neurodivergent generally are, so that's why we're diagnosed quite late. I saw a stat the other day. I think men are diagnosed. I think the average age was about 10 or 12, and women's average age of diagnosis is 30. So that
Oh my
really
God.
surprised me. I can't remember where I saw that stat, but it really shocked me. But it actually doesn't surprise me, because I know so many women sort of in their late 30s, early 40s that are now getting diagnosed, because just the way that our society is, we tend to mask better, and mask it while we're at school. If you look at a lot of my school reports, they say, hard worker, but actually, to be honest with you, I still had ADHD. It's just I was quite clever. I don't feel clever now, but I was at school. I was clever, and so what I could do is just do things last minute, or just go, bum, 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 there, I've done it, and then the rest of the time daydream. So it was, I think if you can do things easily and quickly, you can mask it quite well. I remember it's really funny now, because there was a boy in my upper school that now I realise absolutely has ADHD. Absolute classic signs. I'm sure he has, and he was the same. But whereas I used to just do my stuff and then sort of daydream, he'd act out, and he would, because he'd get bored. He'd done his stuff. He's really clever, and boom, 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 he's done it, and act out. And I realised I was the same, but as an adult, when you look back, but he just, just got bored in lessons. What they needed to do is keep him stimulated. So both of us masked it quite. I don't think he ever got diagnosed when I was at school. I don't remember anyone mentioning it, and I knew him quite well. So it's really interesting thinking back now that actually, if you just get on and do your work, because it's about performance, isn't it? If you're performing well, just because you happen to be clever, then you're just, it's fine. Whereas my son, my son is clever, but he couldn't access and do any learning at all. So he really struggled. So he's 8, he's nearly 9 now, and he couldn't read until last year. So 8. Yeah, he's fine now. It caught up in a year. Once he could access that learning, his brain took over and he learned. So he can read absolutely fine. He still can't write very well because of his fine motor skills, but that's more of a physical thing that will come with age. But yeah, he's caught up in most stuff now, because once he could access that learning and show that he was clever, because isn't it, showing you're clever as well, because people are clever, but you can't always show it. So it's really interesting you were saying about the interview process, because I feel that's very the same, isn't it, as school? It's like a test, and the only thing that an interview does is tell people you're good at interviews. Pretty much. It's a bit like when people that do tests at school. What that tells you is you're good at remembering a few things and doing a test. Whereas I really struggled with tests. It wasn't until I got to university where I managed to sort of get rid of, not get rid of the overwhelm, but managed to have enough emotional control and sort of mental control, maybe, that I could get my thoughts organized for my degree. My degree. But before that, like, I was supposed to be a star student, and I think I scored B's and C's in my GCSEs, which no one was expecting, because I just couldn't do the exams. It was too much. It was too much overwhelm. And my A levels, I was expected to do really well in there, and I think it was C's and D's. And once again, no one expected it, because I was really good. Like, the only GCSE I got an A in was the one that was 100% coursework, because I didn't get overwhelmed. I could take my time. So clearly the problem was the exams, because the reason they thought I was going to get A's is because my coursework was A star all the way through. But I sat down in those ones, and I was like, my mind's gone blank. I can't even. Should have had my German exam. Couldn't speak a word of German by the time I got there, because I couldn't remember it on pressure. I was like, Guten Tag. I've been studying, German for like 3 years at this point, and nothing. That was it. I managed about 5 words, and that was it. So I totally feel for you for the interviews, because you suddenly like, my mind's gone blank, or what mine does, it will go into overdrive, and I'm going blah 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 blah, blah, like talking like nonsense at people, because I'm over stimulated, and I'm like, I need to talk and I can't stop. So it's difficult. It really is, because I feel like I don't think that all this stuff is quite old-fashioned, and it's one way of doing stuff. A bit like meetings, like we're saying, one way to doing stuff, and actually you don't get the best people from it.
I totally agree. So, we have experiences similar, and other people, they also have similar experiences, because the interview process is tailored differently. And those people, they're going to interview us, they don't have any clue about neurodiversity. They don't know how our brain works. If I was if I was interviewing someone and they are neurodivergent, I know what they are. So when I make my judgments, I would make my judgment with aligning the neurodiversity within my work. So I would make a good decision. But I've been through lots of interviews. Even the hiring manager, they don't have any clue of neurodiversity. On an interview with a university, I asked them reasonable adjustment. And that reasonable adjustment was sharing my questionnaire before the interview. If they want, they can, because I've been to many interviews and they shared me the questionnaire beforehand. Like, okay, this is the questionnaire, because for regional adjustment, if you wanted to, you just prepare and then answer. That hiring manager, she was just like, in a way, why would I share the questionnaire with you? We treat everyone same.
It's that equality versus equity, isn't it? You wouldn't. Equality is everyone can use the stairs, even if you're in a wheelchair. Equity is, giving ramps to people that need it, and that's the same. It's the reasonable adjustments, isn't it?
So I did not say anything at that point, because she didn't understand about reasonable adjustment. So if I tell her that, okay, that's the right way to do it, okay, I will not even be selected for the interview anyway. But I did not get that job anyway. But misconception in the workplace, reasonable adjustment, they think that, okay, you don't have a leg, you are in wheelchair, or you have physical disability, you need reasonable adjustment. But it's not like that. Reasonable adjustment is those things. If you have mental health problem, if you are neurodivergent, they have to make it reasonable for you. And we never understand, workplace. I go to many workplace, they have a big sign on their motto and business policies that we are equal for everyone, but they don't cater it to nurture this to the next level.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And the thing is, when you do cater for it, you see people fly. I spoke a minute ago about my sort of A levels and GCSE. When I went to university, now at that point I didn't know I was neurodivergent, but I chose the university because it felt the right one, and it was like a middle university. It wasn't like Oxford or anything like that, but it wasn't too poor. And the reason I chose them is they felt quite chilled, and that felt right for me. So even without knowing, I found a place. And you didn't get scored on sort of turning up, So I ended up missing sort of most morning lectures, because me, Dr. Shah, I can't get anywhere on time. But what it meant is actually I felt more regulated and I felt happier. I still did my every single, and I never did it any differently. Every single assignment I did started about midnight the night before it was due in. And I finished it about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then didn't go to bed and went into class and handed in my assignment. I mean, I did my dissertation. It was I was doing a programming one, so I programmed something in VRML, which doesn't exist anymore. And I think I programmed it in about 2-3 weeks. And I wrote my entire very thick dissertation in about 3 weeks. But do you know what? It worked for me. And the whole university worked for me. And as part of that, I came out with a first, which shows the difference. If someone is in the right environment that works for them and, brings out the best in them. I went from C and D's in A level because it didn't work. And then a degree, I got a first because I felt, I wasn't overwhelmed, which sounds strange saying I'm doing a degree and not overwhelmed, particularly as it's quite intensive computing degree. But it wasn't, because it was just the pacing, the teachers, there was no pressure. You were treated like adults, and a lot with I know a lot of people with ADHD have like rejection sensitive dysphoria. But with there, it's like, you do what you like. You're an adult. So there was no teacher's pressure on me. So the only person I had to sort of please was myself. So I had all this sort of ease of all this panic and overwhelm. And it just showed. And, when I'm in workplaces that are nurturing, I just fly, absolutely fly. And then if I'm in ones that are oppressive, awkward, lots of politics, I do struggle with that. You don't get the best out of me. To be fair, you don't get best out of most people, but it is really difficult. To set. You need to set up these environments right for people. And the thing is, I think people think we need a lot of adjustment, but we don't. There's only there's some just reasonable stuff that you can do that will just just help people grow. Such as, like, for me, it's letting me have autonomy and letting me sort of show you what I can do, and sort of be myself, and not have to sort of conform, or and because I'm rejection sensitive, making sure that when feedback is given, that it is given in a useful way. Feedback where you just criticize someone does not work with me. I need it in a healthy, I've seen this problem, but here's something I think you should do. I'm fine with that. I can deal with that, because that's actionable. But, just criticism for criticism's sake, I don't like, I really used to be quite bad with confrontation as well. And I'm better with that now. But, these are not big things that I need. They're just little tweaks to things. Just sometimes be able to put my headphones in when I'm working, if I'm getting a bit overwhelmed, or I just need a bit of quiet, just somewhere I can just sit and be quiet just for a minute. So things like that, that aren't maybe not book me meeting back to back is always nice. But to be fair, a lot of people don't do well in those. I just do slightly worse. So it's but if you think about them, they're not huge things I'm asking. They're just small little things that work well. I mean, this is why, I ran my own business for a few years, because I could give myself all of that. I now do some work at Fairham Innovation Centre as their innovation director. And actually, to be fair, that is the ADHD dream of a job, for me, because I'm almost acting as my own boss. Sort of, I have someone that guides us, but I'm acting as my own boss within the centre. I can set my own times, but I also have kind and gentle people around me that I can talk to. And if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, or I'm struggling, and they're lovely and they help. And one of the guy that's the centre director is like, right, you keep leaving really late, and that's, so I'm going to stop. You're not allowed to do any big projects after 3 p.m. and things like, so they're really nurturing. The head of the business support team recommended a book to me, Dose by TJ Power, to help me regulate my dopamine. That's a nice environment, because they understand that I'm really good at what I do, but actually I just need just a little bit nurturing now and again, and it doesn't take them much effort. It's just, they're a nice company anyway. So it's just a little bit of, recommending a book, giving you some tips, giving you a bit of ideas and space, or sometimes telling me off if I'm doing something that they know is detrimental to me. It's that care, isn't it? I think.
I totally agree with you, because when you know that someone is caring for you, I have seen most of the neurodivergent people, they will devote their work, they will do anything, doesn't matter. They will not be time bound. They will be emotional bound, that, okay, I have this opportunity and I will prove this, that extraordinary pace. So that's the way I think most of the neurodivergent people, because most of us, we don't value money, but we value time. Time is precious for us. And when we combine knowledge and time together, you can create different things, isn't it? But I have seen that many people, many managers and companies, they will force you to do something, okay? And that will never produce a good results if you are working with neurodivergent people. So thank you, Anna, and thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui, and I have Anna Brevington with me, and we are talking today inclusive workplace and how you can grow your business being a neurodivergent person. So the next segment, I think we are nearly end of our session. We just have 20 minutes and so on. I just wanted to talk about specific strategies for inclusive growth. We have a lot of strategies in business, and neurodivergent people, they are strategy driven rather than anything else. So what strategies can make a inclusive workplace and growth?
Do you know what? I think it's around, we think about growth, and actually, if there's any people that are watching that are just on their own, I feel like they should treat themselves as we're saying about employees, because actually this inclusivity involves you too. So being aware of what you like and what you don't like. Do you like Teams meetings? Do you like phone calls? We were talking, I think, previous episode about designing your business around you to make you comfortable, because otherwise you won't grow as a business. If you're doing stuff that is really uncomfortable and you find it awkward, we often find that people say, oh, I don't want to cold call because I really hate that, or I don't want to phone people. Well, don't do it then. As a business to grow, you have to think about, like we talk a lot about customers, but I think there's both. You've got to think about. You've got to think about your own. What is it that works for you? How can you make your business be sustainable? So for me, I pivoted my business recently because I was doing lots of very large projects, things like competitor analysis and things like that. And part of me loved some of it. I love the research side because I'm really nosy. But we used to have to write up 160-page documents, which for my brain is, they were brilliant when they were done, but oh God, they were uphill struggle. And actually what I realized is my business was never going to grow because actually I didn't really enjoy doing that. And so I actually was not probably seeking out work as much as I should do, because I wasn't enjoying myself. I wasn't feeling uncomfortable. And so I pivoted my business end of last year. It sort of had a soft launch. It's not fully launched yet. And it was around doing memberships and coaching. So I've got a membership area, which means that I can create content and I can put it up, but it means I'm not doing these very long, hefty projects. The content is smaller snippets. I can break it down a little bit more. Just suits my personality type rather than doing those big types. And then the coaching I love because I like helping people. As an ADHD person, I know quite a lot of us, we tend to like the ideas and the creativity, but we don't like the doing all the time. So as a coach, coaching and mentoring is brilliant for us because we can share all our knowledge, but actually we don't have to do the doing, because we send the founders off and go, right, we've all talked about it, go on then, you can do doing. So which works really nice for us. And for the entrepreneurs that I see, it works for them because they struggle with the creativity side, but they can do the doing. So together, we're almost like, you know, a dream team. And so I think, you know, it is about being aware. You know, I've been through it as a business owner myself. What is it I enjoy? What is it I'm good at? I've just started a Discord group. It's got no one in it yet because I've literally just opened it. But I'm going to do like a little community with a few people and just be there to help. And I've designed my business around my brain. Whereas before, it was what I thought. I did this exercise a while ago with a coach. What I should do versus what I want to do. And, you know, I should do this big project. Oh, they're really glamorous, you know, with big companies and global corporations that sound lovely. My brain was going, no, I don't like doing them. But that will stop you growing, because if you're doing stuff you're really finding difficult or not enjoying, and I don't know about you, Dr. Shaw, but I feel like there's a bit of a taboo around pivoting and changing and growing. You know, I feel people think you need to do the same thing forever, but actually you learn what you like to do as you go. So, you know, I think being kind to yourself, the same as we're saying with, you know, with employees, looking at what they like and don't like, look what you like and don't like, because that, if you're happy and comfortable, you will grow. Definitely.
I express the same because, you know, I'm a strategical. And mostly many autistic people Asperger's, they're strategical, because without a strategy, we cannot function. So, you know, it's a good match when you work with someone. If you wanted to grow your business, like, do the best thing that you can do. Like you said, okay, I'm very good at this, I'm very good at this, and you have tried. Because if you do not try something, you don't know that you're good or bad. That will never happen. So you need to try and then see what you are good at and what you aren't. And yes, if you try to make that bad one to become a little bit moderate, or maybe become excellence on that work, sometimes it can happen. I wouldn't say it will not, but sometimes it will delay your projects. It will delay your growth. So the best suggestion from my end would be, yes, you know what you can do, what you can't, and engage with the people, collaborate with the people, that they can do that bit very well. So in that way, you know, it's just like win-win situation. Because if you do not like to do something, if you have other people, they're doing it, like strategy management, okay, time management, and a lot of other things. So if you work with people, they will push you, okay, this is the strategy we're going to follow. Yes, you can be innovative, but this is our methodology. So we can follow the methodology to reach there. You can change the methodology in between as working as an agile process, but some of the thing has to be waterfall, some of the things has to be agile. Like, okay, we are going point A to point D. It's a waterfall. We have to go point D. There isn't any room out there that you can't go. But in between different process, how you would reach there, that could be agile. Like, okay, you don't like that, you can change your specification, you can change the strategy or methodology that you have listed. Maybe you can do it differently. So in that way, I have last I think more than 20 years I'm working in different aspects, in different teams and different things. What I found is easier for me is to follow a strategy. And if I don't see the end results, I cannot calculate the beginning. Because the end I'm looking for, I have to reverse engineer that to start on my beginning. And I can see, okay, I wanted to get that end. And on my beginning, it's not the beginning that I want. I need to have a beginning that produce the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And most of us, they fail to understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we do, we say, okay, let's just start it. But if you just start it, that's not gonna give you the end results, will it?
No, it's 100%. It's funny because I've just been doing marketing course, and we've just done vision and mission to to our end result. What is it we want to get our business to? Where are we guiding ourselves? Because you're 100% correct. If you don't know where you're going, there's a quote from Alice in Wonderland. I think it's the caterpillar says to her, she says, "Oh, which way should I go?" And he says, "Where do you want to get to?" And she says, "I don't know." And he said, "Well, it doesn't matter, because if you don't know where you're getting to, you don't know what the right choices to make, the right path to make." I'm a huge fan of strategy, whether it's on a whole business level or a sort of marketing or sales level, product level, having that, at least a hypothesis of where you want to get to, some sort of inkling, because otherwise, there's another saying, it's something like a boat without a destination, no wind is favorable to him, because if you don't know where you're going, what do you know is going to send you in the right direction? So I absolutely agree with that.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. We have a few more minutes left, so at this point we wanted to discuss about how can a small business initiate their resources in the industry with neurodivergent employees, adding neurodivergent employees, because I know that many of the neurodivergent people, they are multitasking. Okay, I know you multitasking. I know many other people, they are multitasking. Even if you do not know that subject areas, you will say, okay, I will try if I can do it, and you will do it right away. I know that. And how can businesses increase their productivity with neurodivergent people engaging with their work?
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, I think, looking at a lot of the neurodivergent people that I know, we tend to be, I think it is back to that big picture thinking, isn't it? Because we can see the end result, we can sort of work backwards and find the least path of resistance. What is it that we can, how can we get here? Even though I know that a lot of people with ADHD aren't always process driven, but I am, because I over time I've realized that it's a way to contain my thoughts. So maybe there's actually, we're talking about neurodiversity, that we all have something very different to offer, and it's making sure you're getting the right person for the task. So depending on whether people are autistic, whether they've got ADHD, what we all have spectrum, which is not a linear spectrum, in case anyone doesn't know sort of much about sort of neurodiversity. It's like when my son was diagnosed, they've got a wheel, and it's got about 8 points on it, and one is communication, I think the other is sensory, and people go up and down, so everyone's wheel looks really, really different. So it's around don't just hire neurodivergent people, find them the ones that fit to the thing that you need, to what works for you. I think this is what people get the misconception around these DEI programs, that people are just going, let's just hire someone disabled, or a woman or something. But what it's actually around is actually hiring the best person for the job. If you're in business, we have to admit, because all the stats tell us, and we've all been in business, that white men tend to have the higher positions. There is a pay gap in between, in between positions. There is a disparity in more women-led industries to male-led industries. All the stats tell us that. And from a and the same with people of different backgrounds. I'm actually from a very working class background, council estate, and actually when I'm in marketing, there is very few people from like council estates in marketing. DI is actually about getting the people, the best person for the job, no matter what they look like, because we have to, we can either assume that white men are better than everyone else, or somehow they may have got there because we're talking about, homogenous thinking. People like people that look like them. I tend to hang out more with women because, you know, I am a woman, I do hang out more with women and women-led businesses. You know, we do like to hang out with people that we like and that feel like us. And, you know, and you see it at workplaces where you might get all the football fans, you know, going together. People like to hire people that look like them. So, you know, from way back when women didn't really work, you had a lot of men in business, and then they've continued to hire people that look like them. So what DEI is around actually, let's mix this up, very much what Matthew Syed said, bring different diverse backgrounds in that actually do belong there, that are qualified. You know, I know I've seen a lot of stats recently when, you know, girls are coming out of university and school. A lot of them have much higher grades than boys. Yet why are they not being hired? You know, so it's around equaling up, bringing those brilliant minds into the business to make sure that everyone is being able to shine, rather than this sort of homogenous thinking. And it's, you know, and in different places it's different homogenous thinking. You know, in some places it's, you know, you know, it might be the older generation, in some places it might be the younger generation. You know, it's around, you know, you see a lot of tech companies and they want all the youth and the young people, and actually you're missing age and experience, you know, people that have been there, done that. And you need a nice mix of everything. You need people from poor backgrounds, from rich backgrounds, from every background. You need people that have been to uni, that are just dropped out of GCSE, everything, so that it makes it makes this background, you know, and your thoughts in your business. It's almost like making one neurodivergent brain, isn't it? With this diversity, you've got different thoughts coming from different places to, you know, to bring all these new ideas.
I totally agree with you, Anna, because when you select someone for your workplace, if you can add neurodivergence if they disclose. And sometimes people are neurodivergent even they don't know they're neurodivergent. So in a way, the thing that just you shared, that inclusivity, in a way that you care everyone. You need old people, you need color, you know, skin of color, and you also need other categories here: neurodivergent, disabled, you know, excellent in education, PhD holders, and as well as dropouts. I can understand my situation, being a dropout person, and now I can understand my situation finishing a PhD. So if you, that time when I was dropout, I had different vision. I had different things. With my limitation, I wanted to do things better. You also need to know that. Like, okay, people in the community, council estate or posh people, how they think, how they wanted to solve a problem. When you combine together, you really can solve problems. Otherwise, you're going to be solving a problem that is not targeted to other community. So you're going to be solving a problem either in one dimension, not the other one. So it's better to have a cohesion, and then you can bring something to differently. And you know, the world is going in different direction now. I think we will have better situation.
Yeah.
Maybe in few years time, or maybe after all the war and everything settled. But what we think for a better community. We think that people value each other, diversity, and, you know, cohesion needs to be centered of our culture. So we value each person for their talent and for their knowledge and a lot of other things. It's not like that you are black, so you don't have knowledge, or you are neurodivergent, you are not good for any communities.
No, and just to add to that, you know, the amount of neurodivergent people out of work is quite high. And it would I'd love to see people put more initiatives in to, you know, make sure they are hiring these cracking people, because they, you know, many of them amazing, and they don't deserve to be out of work.
I totally agree with you, because I have seen many people, just a little bit of support, they can change their lives differently. And when someone is changing their lives, it's not their lives, it's their future generations' lives. My son now, he dreams of to be a scientist.
Yeah.
Okay, because I am a scientist and he wants to be a scientist. So if you give you a better life, that means your future generation, they will lead to a better lives. So we can hope that for anyone in the community, like, okay, supporting someone, maybe leading them to the success, and it's just a little bit of support, isn't it?
It is. It's just, and it's very person-centered support. As I was sort of talking about earlier, we're all different. There's not one type of neurodivergence, and just asking people, what can we do to support you? That's all it needs, and giving them the make them feel safe that they can answer that question.
I totally agree with you, Anna. So we are end of our session. So do you wanted to add anything else?
No, I would recommend people read Matthew Syed's book, Rebel Ideas, because that is really good for understanding. He's got lots of information and stats on there around why it's really profitable pretty much for businesses. They should do this because it's profitable. If anything, it is the right thing to do, but also it's good for business. So please do read it.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, everyone. We just have an announcement to make. So next month, we are doing an in-person event at the Ferrum Innovation Center. The advertisement is already on. And if you wanted to join us, please join us. We can have a get-together and talk about neurodiversity. And as well as we're going to be talking to raise a... sorry, it's just gone from my mind. Petition. So we're gonna be signing a petition to the government to a specific subject areas that we all need. All neurodivergent people can get supported with that specific reason, because if we want to target many things at the same time, that will not be prioritized. So we wanted to solve problems one at a time. So we're going to be writing a petition to the government, and our aim would be to talk to and go to the number 10 and talk about that subject and reinstate what we want. So thank you, everyone, for joining today's live webinar. Me, Dr. Shah Siddiqui, and Anna Brewington, we're going to be seeing you next month and in-person events. Until then, please
goodbye.
stay
Thank
tuned.
you so much.
Support our work, and bye-bye.